What's going on YouTube? Welcome back to another one of my videos. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different, not the usual gym vlog content, but today we're going to be doing top 5 habits that have impacted or changed my life for the better. Number one is obviously going to be like working out consistently. I mean, that is kind of what the center of this channel is about, but I will say this hasn't impacted my life a lot because when I was younger, I was like, especially in like my middle school, like puberty years, as I'm going to call it, like maybe like 12 through now, or like 12 through maybe like 16. It was probably the most impactful. Working out a lot, it kind of just gave me a place to focus my energy and a place that you can easily put time and effort into and see results, which is kind of hard to do if you're not like a sports person. Like if you don't play sports, maybe like academically you could do it as well in like in school, but it's a little bit different in high school because the results are like, at least for me, for example, like if I tried really hard in school, like it would get really boring just because of the pacing of high school. At least for me, it got really boring. In college, you can definitely focus a lot more, and I'll get to that. But at least for me, academics and sports weren't really my place, but the gym was really a place where I could like learn new things like on the internet and apply them to my workouts and just be consistent and then see results, see how my body would change, to see how it would make me feel more confident and things like that. It really did change my life for a lot, like the better, especially in my younger years and as I got older as well. It just gave you this like little bit of foundation that like no matter what you did that day, if you worked out and you had a good workout, even if you didn't have a good workout, if you just worked out at all, you have that win for the day. You were like, this is what I did today. At least like, oh, today might have sucked, but at least I worked out today. And also, the the habit of being consistent with the gym allowed me, for example, to apply that level of discipline and like the manner of habit building that you learn from like being consistent in the gym to other things, like to other aspects. Sorry, I have to sneeze. But it allowed me to apply those lessons, like building habits and the discipline of working out every day and being consistent to other aspects of my life whenever it came to business or it came for me like actually going to college, which is not something I initially thought I wanted to do in high school. But we'll get into that a little bit later in a different topic. But yeah, those lessons I learned from the gym, the hard work, the consistency, the habit building, like just also the science of lifting got me into the field that I'm now in college, which is like neuroscience and medicine and things like that. But next tip. Tip number 2 is going to be using a calendar or like some sort of organizing method. Everybody's different when it comes to this. I know people that like using notebooks, like those little planners you buy on Amazon for like 20 bucks. You can do that too. I'm a little lazy when it comes to that, so I use Google Calendar and it's free and I like it and I've used it for school and it's really helpful for me because especially in the beginning of like my college career, because I'm a senior now, I graduate like in like 4 months. That's kind of crazy to say out loud, but yeah, the semester's starting up. I graduate in 4 months, and then it's MCAT and med school prep and all those things, which I'll document on this channel, but we're not quite there yet. Um, Being organized is super important, especially if you're a student that has other things going on, or just a student in general. I would say you should probably just try using a calendar app, or if even not a student, you can just try this. I love Google Calendar just because how I would recommend people use it in the beginning, like when you're first starting out to use it, would be just to sit down and put your hard time stuff in there. Like the things that don't change. Like let's say you work an hourly job like I did in the beginning of college. There was a period in college where I had 3 jobs. Like I was working at LA Fitness, I was running a car wash business, and I was trying to get my real estate business off the ground, and I was in school. So that was a really busy time in my life. But at that time, I was trying to learn how to be more efficient with my time and be really organized because when you're running multiple businesses, you have to keep track of like when your appointments are, when your tasks are, like if you need to order more supplies, if you have to do this for this license, all that kind of stuff. It was a lot of work, but the lessons that I learned from running, sorry, my light turned off, but the calendar app helped me a lot because Google Calendar, for example, integrates with a lot of their other programs like Gmail and Tasks. And I like the task feature because my school uses Canvas for the homework and stuff, but I like putting things on the tasks because it keeps all of the things I have to do in one place. So in the morning, if I wake up, because sometimes you might be a really busy person, but sometimes you might not know what you're supposed to be working on. Like you'll be like, I don't know what I have to work on right now. Let me go look for it. I just try to save myself time like that. So whenever I get a new assignment or there's a hard deadline for something, I'll put it in there. Even if it's like really long, like a far distance away. Like recently I renewed my real estate license. So I put like 5 months ago, renew real estate license by like September something. So I was like, okay, I know I'm not going to do that soon because anything else that's due before that, I'm going to do it first. So that's just priorities, right? Like if you have homework due next Thursday, you're not going to work on your real estate license that's due in like 6 months from now. It goes to the bottom of the list. But when you put the date in it, it sorts it. But it also just keeps me like honest. So I'm kind of rambling here, but like how I use the calendar is I'll put my hard like time stuff in there. So I'll put my classes, for example, because right now I run my own business. So unless I have a showing or some kind of listing appointment, there's not really any hard timelines. I'll put my classes in there and I'll put like the location in the calendar just so, which I'll get into a little bit later why I do that. But I put my locations in there and that allows me to see when I have open timing. So I tried to plan my workouts like that before, but I didn't really like doing it like that. I mean, you can if you like doing that. If you want to put your workouts for the same time every day, go for it. I'm just more flexible than that, so I just don't necessarily plan my workouts like that. Like I'm not like, hey, I'm hitting back and biceps next Monday from like 8 a.m. to like 10. Like I just don't do that. I'm like, hey, I have back and biceps Monday. Fit it in when you can. Like that's all that matters. Um, but things like that, put your hard timeline schedules in there and then add your tasks. So that way, when you have a task to do and you know it's coming up, like let's say it's Monday and you have something due like Sunday night. On Monday, when you're like, hey, I don't know what I should be doing right now and I have time and I feel like doing something, like you can look at your task like, oh, I had this coming up on Sunday. Let me do it now. So Sunday I'm not like fucking busy or packed like with a bunch of shit to do. So that would be my advice is just stay as organized as possible. Use some kind of calendar, some kind of planner app. I might make a video in the future of just like how I personally do it. Just go a lot more in detail on why I add the location so I know when to leave my house because traffic in Miami is fucking awful. But things like that, just stay as organized as possible. I don't mean like in your room. I mean, that could be a different topic, but I'm not super organized in here, so I don't want to talk about a habit I don't have. Just keep your tasks like people's birthdays and events on there and like school and like hourly jobs kind of things and appointments and things like that. So you just are very organized and it just takes it off your mind. You don't get the decision fatigue. You don't have to remember all these things going on. You can just focus on what you're supposed to be doing at that time. And whenever you need to transition to a different task, you know what you're supposed to be doing. Number 3 habit is probably, I don't know how really to put this, but I'm going to put like financial literacy is probably what I'm going to call this. So I would, if I were you guys, especially if this is more of a video for like if you're in your 20s and early teens, because I can't give you guys advice if you're like 40 or 50. I don't know anything about the struggles that people of that age have. But for me, I know a lot of people in my age group that don't really know much about finances, especially like building credit and investing and things like that. I mean, I'm not an expert. Like, I'm not like some Graham Stephan guy on YouTube. He has a lot of good content regarding credit cards. If you need something like that, you can go watch a specific video on like how to build credit properly. But I would just say financial literacy is something I kind of dove into during COVID because I was just at home like browsing the internet, and I was kind of tired of working hourly at that time because I was working at the gym pre-COVID and post-COVID, and I was kind of I felt like I was wasting my time there. I mean, it was a great job, don't get me wrong, but I just felt like I could be using my time more efficiently to make money because realistically, that is the goal of most jobs is just to make money. So I dove into financial literacy and I learned a lot of things about building credit, which I've been building credit since I was 18. I got a credit card when I was 18. I got a student card because if you're a college student, they qualify you for those. And you just go from there and just put something simple on there. Like don't go out and buy dumb shit with your credit cards. Like just put like your Spotify account on there, which the student account's like I think $5 a month for that, and like you get Hulu with it. Just get that, put it on the card, leave the card at home if you know you're irresponsible with credit cards, and then just pay it monthly, and you'll just build credit. And then over time, you can add more and more credit cards and get more complicated with it. I would watch a whole separate video on that. I'm not the guy for that. And that's not really content I want to go into on this channel. But you can definitely, well, there's a lot of YouTubers out there that talk about this. You can just build credit, and it's really important later on in life. I mean, not really now, depending on where you live, but not really when you're in your early 20s. You're probably not going to be buying a house. But I've personally dealt with people that are trying to buy houses. I'm a real estate agent. It's what I do. And credit's super important. Like I've seen a lot of people that not like that can't buy houses because of their credit. And it's something that you can easily build when you're younger because you don't have as many expenses. So the temptation to buy, like put a bunch of shit on there is not as crazy as it is when you're an adult and you like are struggling and your rent's really high and you have like these really random emergency expenses. When you're younger, as long as you have a good job, you can kind of like budget everything out. Like, hey, I have to pay this much for rent. I want to budget this much out for like fun money, as I call it. And then the rest of it's investing. And investing is something I wouldn't overcomplicate unless you're trying to do some like cryptocurrency or like some day trading shit. I'm not in that realm. I don't have the time and like energy to put into like doing like really short-term investment like that. I'm more of like a interest rates and savings accounts suck kind of person. So I put a lot of my money in index funds. I think like 36% of all my investments is in like the S&P 500, which has been doing well. I think it's gone up like 15 to 18% this year. And the year before that, which is great. That money, I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to use it for yet. That's why it's not in something like a Roth for like retirement. If you know you want to use it for retirement, put it in like a Roth IRA. There's a lot of other videos out there about like what accounts to use for what. Mine, I might pull out for med school, which is very like next year or two. So I don't want to like marry myself to any kind of investment account because I know I'm going to have to, I might have to pull that money out for something like med school, which is an investment in skills, but that's a different habit we're going to get into shortly. But financial literacy, I will say, like the key takeaways from this is to like build a budget, figure out how much money you make, like on a consistent basis. Maybe if you're like a waiter or a waitress, the tips is kind of vary, but maybe what I would say is take your consistent income, like not including tips, and budget that out. And then your tip money, you can add like little places for it. Like, hey, if I get this amount of tips, like I could put more in my investment or more in my fund money. And always budget out fund money, because if you don't, you're not going to fucking stick to your budget at all. Like if you can't like save up for things you like I like nice clothing, like nice, very staple, like simple pieces, like Lululemon hoodies are like a thing I have way too fucking many of. You can't see them there. They're on the other side. But like I have like a couple hoodies from them and I love them and they're great, but they're expensive. They're like $100 and something. Like they're not cheap. And I will budget for this in the future because I'm like, hey, I'll go to Lululemon and be like, I want this hoodie. So I'm going to buy it. Like I'm not a big shopper person, but I like things like that. And I will budget, like put places in my budget for fun money. But I also have the investment backing. So like, especially for me, because I'm self-employed, having that like portfolio of investments makes me feel a lot more stable, because real estate, you can like go a couple months and not make any money. And it's weird to budget like that. But having that investment account that's there that I can access if something emergency pops up, like some kind of like medical emergency for myself, or like something I own breaks and I need it, like a car, kind of like something in my car breaks, my computer breaks, like something like necessity like that. I can't afford to pull it out of there and fix stuff. That's just how I use it. But I will say, figure out how to budget, figure out how to invest, and build credit are probably the 3 pillars that you need in your early 20s. And then you can obviously get as complicated as you want with either of those 3, but there's different videos on that you can go check out on YouTube. Habit number 4, I would say, is, I don't know how to word this either, but like maybe like romanticize the things that you have to do is the way I would put it. Like, or make them like as enjoyable as possible is probably a better way to put it. Like something like the gym. I know a lot of people struggle to go, and I've been training for a long time. I haven't felt like I want to, like, you don't feel like you want to go to the gym every day. But there's little things you can do to make habits easier, like just reducing the threshold, right? Like if you, like let's say the calendar thing I talked about earlier, if you scheduled out a time to go to the gym and you scheduled it and it's there on your calendar, you're gonna go. Like Like, focus on getting to the building. Like, if you start working out and you're there for 10, 15 minutes and you still feel like shit, then go home. But your goal should always just be to get to the gym and do something. Because I promise you, once you're there, you're going to keep doing stuff. If you feel like shit, like 20 minutes, 30 minutes into a workout, and you're like, everything else is locked in, like your food and everything, you probably need rest. But different topic, different video. But I will say, just make your habits as easy as possible to build. So if you have a struggle, like if you struggle to eat healthy, like myself, I kind of eat like shit sometimes, but like if you can't control what's in your house, get rid of all the unhealthy food. I mean, it's that simple. Like if you live alone, you control what you eat. Like you buy the food and you go out to eat. So just don't buy the shitty food and you're way less likely to eat it. Or meal prep, because then it's like, hey, I have this container full of food at my house or with me at work. I'm not gonna go out of my way to eat unhealthy, right? Like it just makes things like that easier. That's some stuff I learned from like Atomic Habits. That's a book you guys can get on like Amazon or something like that. I think it's like $20. But I read that book a long time ago. And he talks about like reducing the threshold for like making habits as easy as possible to build. Like, for example, when I first started college, I had a hard time studying. So I spent some money on my desk. Like my desk is very nice. It's probably like the majority of the expensive things I own are on my desk, like my laptop and like my gaming PC, like my monitors, my nice keyboard, mouse, my like desk pad, all that kind of shit. Like, yeah, it looks nice, but it has a purpose. Like if I feel like I want to be here, like if it's like a little place that I built and I like the things that I have here and like the experience is enjoyable. Obviously, if you have the money, like this all boils down to like financial stuff, but you could do a lot of other things that aren't financial related, like just get out of your house to study. Like it's really boring to study in your house if you don't have a nice space for it. Like you could just go to the library, go to the campus library, go anywhere. If you have like something you want to learn and study, you could just get out of your house. If you don't live in like Miami or like Arizona or something, you can hang out outside and do it. Here it's like, I think it's like 100 and something degrees today, so I'm not going to go out there or my laptop and study. But just things like that. Try to make the environment in which you do things as nice as possible and as easy as possible. Like, not everybody's David Goggins, okay? Like, not everybody can just willpower everything to death all of the time. Like, yeah, I would say my willpower is pretty strong. Like, I can stop myself from doing things I don't want to do and, like, I shouldn't be doing. But, like, why? Like, why waste the energy on doing, like, making yourself do things you don't want to do if you could just make it super easy? Like, another one would be like if you wake up in the morning and your gym clothes are like already laid out, like and like you have the time scheduled, like you have the time to go to the gym, you're gonna go. Like it's super easy. Like you just put your clothes on and just leave the house. Like it's just make things as easy as possible, and it's also like saves you a lot of time and energy and a lot of things when it comes to that. But yeah, habit number 5, fifth and final habit, is a pretty important one for me, in my opinion, just coming from a science standpoint and productivity standpoint, is prioritize your sleep. People, especially in my age group, like don't give a shit about their sleep. I don't know why, but it's probably because we're like in our 20s and people like having going out and having fun. I do too, but like sleep's super important. Like building a sleep routine made a huge difference for me, at least in my ability to like focus throughout the day and like how I feel throughout the day. And this is a good topic right now because I just got off, like my school starts tomorrow and my sleep schedule was all fucked up this week. And I wear a Whoop, one of these little things, a little sleep tracker. You don't need this. If you have an Apple Watch, you can use that too. I just like this because it doesn't have a screen. It's not distracting. And I can just wear it all the time. But it tracks your sleep. And I'll put it up on the screen. There's a little chart they give you and like your recovery and HRV and a bunch of other shit. I'm not going to make a whole Whoop video right now, but it tracks your sleep. And having a consistent go to sleep time and wake up time, one, makes your sleep way more efficient because your body just knows what you're doing. Getting sun exposure like in the morning, early in the morning, like getting that really bright light. Obviously, don't stare at the sun, but like getting sun exposure in your eyes early in the morning is really good for your circadian rhythm and falling asleep faster at nighttime. I mean, there's some supplements you could take like magnesium, zinc. There's ZMA. It's like zinc, magnesium, and arginine. That's a good supplement I took for a while to help with sleep. I wouldn't recommend melatonin because it's not that well researched and it is technically a hormone in your body and it has a lot of things to do with puberty. So if you're like under 25 as a man, like don't take melatonin unless you like really fucking need it. But but it has a lot of things to do with puberty. I'm not going to get into all that whole other video. I can talk about that, but prioritize your sleep. Like, try to get as much sleep as you can. It really does help you focus and be productive throughout the day. Even if you have to go to sleep like an hour earlier, just wake up earlier. Like don't stay up all night studying. Wake up early and study. At least for me, that works really well for me. I've gone through times like when I was taking, like, some of my chemistry courses were really difficult, like like organic chemistry 1 and 2. If you have taken any of those classes, those are like the bane of any fucking pre-med student's like existence, or those classes. Like, I remember when I was studying for like Orgo 1's final, like that week of finals, I had like 3 or 4 finals, like on the like space between like a day apart. I had like Wednesday I had 2, Thursday I had 2, and they were all like difficult. So I remember it was like maybe like 10 o'clock at night, and I was like, hey, I still have content I want to go over for today, but I'm going to feel like dog shit if I stay up till like 1 a.m. because I'm not used to staying up that late. I mean, maybe if you are, go for it, but my sleep schedule was like go to sleep at 11, wake up at like 6, or wake up at 8. I mean, or yeah, at that time it was 7. It was 11 and 7. Um, and I was like, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to sleep now. So I go to sleep at the time I usually go to sleep, but I'm going to wake up early, because then at least when I feel like I feel like shit, it won't be in the morning. It'll be at nighttime, and that doesn't really matter much, like as much, because your brain's very like primed and focused like for a couple hours after you wake up. So I went to sleep at like 11ish, woke up at like 5, or like I think it was 4:30 or something, and I studied from 4:30 to like 10, and like, well, obviously I ate, but 4:30 to like 10, and I went and took my final, did really well on it, passed it, got like a B in that class, which is pretty good for Orgo, got like a B plus in Orgo. Um, and I remembered that because I was like, hey, I wanted to stay up all night, and that's kind of like the stigma a lot of students do, like, oh, I'm doing all nighter. Fuck that. Just go to sleep on your like what time you usually go to bed, and then wake up really early, because you'll feel decent in the morning, and then that's when your final is. You're good. I mean, if you have like a late night final, like if you have one of those 8 p.m. classes, probably wouldn't do that, but kind of play around with it. But I will say, just be consistent with your sleep. Try to get as much sleep as possible. Obviously, if you work night shifts, there's a lot of like little minute circumstances that could impact how you guys take this advice, but obviously just be as efficient with your sleep, get as much sleep as possible, and prioritize it. Make it a priority, because anything you make a priority, you will get done. Like, if you make the gym a priority, you're going to go to the gym. If you make eating healthy a priority, you're going to eat healthier. Sleep, same thing. And the sleep will impact every aspect of your life. So if you guys are going to ignore the rest of these, just fix your sleep, because even if you just like go to work, you're going to feel better at work. You're going to have more energy at work. You're going to be a lot more talkative, a lot less irritable, things like that. It'll help you guys out a lot in every aspect of your life, like especially like the gym, being able to focus as a student, just being the best person you can be, which is kind of what I'm all about here, is just being the best version of yourself that you could possibly be, and just putting your best foot forward and doing your best, because that's kind of all you can ask for from yourself. But yeah, that was my last little tip here. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you guys like this kind of content. I know it's a little bit different from the gym vlogs and the weightlifting stuff we've been doing, but I kind of want to branch out into more like wellness. I don't want to call it wellness. Like, self-help's probably not a good word either, but like other content like that. Because I have a lot of knowledge I wish I would have had when I was a little bit younger, like starting college and starting business and things like that I can share with you guys. So I kind of want to get into those type of content as well. So let me know how you guys like this video down in the description down below. Hit it with a like, hit it with a dislike, whatever you guys want to do. I just like the feedback, so I know what direction you guys are kind of liking with these channels and like these videos. But remember to like, subscribe, and comment down below, and I'll see you guys next Monday on whatever we end up doing. Probably a workout vlog. That'll be week 8 of the cut series. Peace.